Hollow Hill Prison stood like a titan of despair against the backdrop of a somber sky, its crumbling walls a testament to the horrors that had unfolded within. Once a fortress meant to contain the most dangerous criminals, it had become a graveyard for souls, both living and dead. The memories of the riot that erupted in the 1950s haunted its corridors, the echoes of violence and chaos reverberating through time. Victor Kane, a name that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest guards, led the uprising that claimed lives and shattered the illusion of safety. The night was painted in blood, and the prison became a mausoleum for the lost. Years passed, and the prison fell into disrepair, its once formidable structure now a shell of its former self. Vines clawed at its walls, and shattered windows gaped like hollow eyes, forever watching the world outside. Locals spun tales of the restless spirits that wandered the halls, their anguished cries mingling with the howling wind. Children dared each other to approach the looming edifice, but none ventured too close, for fear of awakening the wrath of those who had perished within. The stories morphed into urban legends, each retelling more grotesque than the last, warning of the curse that lingered in the shadows. But thrill-seeking teenagers, emboldened by bravado and a thirst for adventure, dismissed the warnings as mere superstition. They were convinced that they could conquer the darkness, armed with nothing but flashlights and a sense of invincibility. As they approached the prison, laughter echoed in the stillness, a stark contrast to the ominous silence that enveloped the structure. The heavy iron gates creaked open, almost inviting them into the abyss. They crossed the threshold, stepping into a world where time stood still, unaware of the horrors that awaited them. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, the atmosphere shifted. A palpable tension hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Doors that had stood resolutely closed for decades began to slam shut, each bang reverberating like a death knell. The temperature plummeted, and an unnatural chill settled in their bones. Whispers floated through the air, indistinct yet laden with malice, wrapping around the teenagers like a shroud. They exchanged nervous glances, their bravado faltering as the laughter faded into uneasy silence. One by one, the thrill of exploration turned to terror. The first to vanish was a boy named Alex, who had dared to venture too far down a dark corridor. His screams echoed through the halls, a haunting melody that abruptly ceased, leaving only an eerie stillness in its wake. When the others found him, it was too late. His lifeless body dangled from the ceiling, a grotesque reminder of the violent past that still clung to the prison like a second skin. Fear gripped the remaining teens as they grappled with the reality that the legends were not just stories. They were warnings. Panic surged through the group as they scrambled to escape. The prison, once a mere backdrop to their adventure, transformed into a living entity, its walls pulsating with malevolence. Shadows danced in the corners of their vision, taunting them with the promise of doom. The cafeteria became a battleground as tables and chairs hurled themselves through the air, a whirlwind of chaos. The second teen, Marcus, found himself trapped beneath the debris, his eyes wide with terror as the weight of the furniture crushed him. Silencing his pleas for help, desperation clawed at the remaining teens as they scattered, seeking refuge in the remnants of authority that had once governed the prison. A girl named Sarah ran to the warden's office, believing it to be her sanctuary. But the door slammed shut behind her, sealing her fate. She felt the noose tighten around her neck, cold hands gripping her throat as she struggled against the invisible force. Her body was discovered later, lifeless and swinging from the rafters, a tragic echo of the hangings that had marked the prison's dark history. Jake, the last of the group, raced toward the prison gates, his heart pounding in his chest. He thought he could escape, that he could break free from the horrors that had claimed his friends. But as he reached the threshold, he was met with a sight that froze him in place. Victor Kane, the very embodiment of the prison's wrath, stood before him, eyes glowing with a malevolent light. In that moment, Jake understood the futility of his escape. The ghost lunged, dragging him back into the darkness where screams and despair awaited him. The next morning, the police arrived at Hollow Hill Prison, responding to reports of strange occurrences. They found the gates wide open, a chilling invitation to the horrors within. As they ventured inside, they stumbled upon the bodies of the teenagers, each one a grim reflection of the past. The brutality of their deaths mirrored the violence that had once erupted in the very same halls, each victim a testament to the prison's unyielding grip on the living. Hollow Hill Prison was sealed off once more, a tomb for the lost souls that lingered within. The legends grew, whispering of vengeful spirits seeking retribution against those who dared to trespass. Locals steered clear of the cursed land, fearing the darkness that clung to it like a shroud. The prison stood abandoned, a monument to the past, a warning to those who sought thrills in the unknown. Some places are better left untouched. The dead do not rest easy, and Hollow Hill Prison serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can consume the living. The echoes of the past reverberate through the empty halls, a haunting melody that warns against the folly of hubris. In the end, the thrill-seekers discovered what many before them had learned. Some legends are rooted in truth, and some places are forever haunted by the ghosts of their history.